What is up, AKAPADers? Welcome to my Audio Audacity podcast. This is a makeup episode from the 31 Days of Dread. This is day 15. Originally, when I was numbering these episodes, I dealt with a hard drive failure. It was more like a hard drive transfer mishap, where a bunch of files just disappeared, and I just plowed along, and my numbering got mixed up. So I went from 14 to 16, leaving out the sweet old 15. But look, we're doing it. We're going to complete the set. And welcome, we're talking the 2011 underrated, forgotten, awesome gothic movie based on the manga, not anime, manga. It's called Priest, and this movie rocks. Let's get through that intro and talk about a super cool movie that you can buddy with, like Blade Runner. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more. Yeah, so October really spun my head. Now, this is November. It's already November 4th. I just came back from a weekend with the boys where we went to Baltimore to basically watch the Patriots get their butts spanked against the Ravens. And, have fun, drink a lot of alcohol, eat a lot of food, and, there are some other substances involved. But that, we'll leave it there. Oh, I'm sorry. If you want to talk about that stuff, go to my Twitter feed. Just joking. But if you're new here, look, thank you for joining me. I'm Peter A. DeLuca. I am your guiding light. I am your light post. I am the guy on the runway with the little waving flashlight markers, telling you where to go. I don't know what that guy's called, but I should look that up. But no, I am your guide, and we do a lot of pop culture discussion here. That is what led to the 31 Days of Dread. It's just like I wanted to really dive into and understand, because I felt like I really, of all the genres in movies, I felt like horror was a deficit of mine. And I created the 31 Days of Dread to almost pound horror into my head and to fully begin to understand it. And that's what October is. It's like this insane crash course on movie after movie after movie. This year, I think I watched the most movies because there's about 5 to 6 that I watched that I did not do an episode on. And there's reasons for that, and that's probably going to be highlighted in our next episode, because we're going to go back to our normal numbering after this Day 15 redux or reintroduction or re-recording of Day 15. And let's get into that. So October marched on. I was dealing with this project site through the 9 to 5, and the toll on that in 1 week alone, the first week of October, really spun my head. And it got to the point where, not that I was in the haze, but I was just locked in. Now, I was doing these recordings, shooting videos for my YouTube channel, drawing, and then keeping up with Inktober, because I do Inktober and the 31 Days of Dread back to back, and it's all designed to be dumped into my Instagram feed. And that's a lot of work itself, and I'm still catching up on that. So, look, you're like, Pete, you do too much. And look, keep in mind, too, I do a lot of other freelance projects. I run eBay. I have, like, a pretty good eBay business. And it's just a lot of stuff. And then we're talking socializing, staying in the mix. Cats and dogs living together. You get the whole drill. So, I lost a bunch of files during this file transfer mishap. That, good thing I work in IT. Good thing that I have people around I can pick their brain. There was almost like nothing I could have done to prevent that file transfer mishap, but it was good to hear that it's not that uncommon. And it took me an additional week to get everything back to where it was when it comes to production files. So one of my criticisms with a lot of people that get into what the podcasting and get into this, it's that they think they can get away with doing one episode a week or something like that. And, I don't want to challenge their quality, but, they do these episodes and they cram everything in, and the quality doesn't go up because they're not recording enough and they're not getting into the production files enough, meaning sound mixing, sound design, becoming a student of like what they're putting down content wise. And for me, it's like every single day, every single moment, I have a list of things to do here, believe it or not, that are not so much related to like even like pop culture. Like I want this podcast to become so much more, and I'm just driven to do it. But I also want to get good with speaking to you. I just want to become a good speaker, period. And it's trial by fire, everyone. You just have to keep doing it. You have to become obsessive, but you have to not ever slow down. Look, I went away, this past month too, for like weddings. Even when I just did my bro trip, I bring stuff with me, and if we're up all night doing whatever, mostly illegal things. I'm up early and I'm doing stuff in hotel lobbies. I'm doing stuff in communal workspaces in some of these environments. I'm finding coffee houses to do work in, and I will lose sleep. I will sacrifice, even when I'm supposed to be having fun, I will sacrifice more of myself for this and for you. So let's get into 2011 Priest. Okay, I said you can buddy this movie with Blade Runner, and that was a lot of the theme when it comes to the 31 Days of Dread, where I just buddied movies together. Now, you can't do that on the 31st day. And I originally had this movie called The Chair, which is now off of Amazon Prime, but The Chair is from a comic book by Alternative Press, and I'm pretty sure it's executive produced by Alternative Press's chief, editor, chief publisher, president, head guy. His name is Peter Cementi, and I kind of sent him a tweet promising I would do something with that, and I do feel bad because I thought The Chair would work good on the 31 Days of Dread. It's unfortunate that that's no longer available, but I saw Priest, and I remember seeing Priest in 2011. And my girlfriend at the time, we immediately liked the movie. She liked it because looking back, reflection, she had some demons of her own. And the idea that this would be like an anti-Christian movie, like an anti-religious, anti-practice movie, appealed to her. And the movie really doesn't have that, okay? It has, like maybe some elements, but this movie is about other things, and it's about cooler things. But she was like a little bit disappointed with that angle for the movie, and I kind of like always agreed with her because the movie is called Priest. We're dealing with a crucifix iconography throughout the movie and through the advertising, and you would kind of expect it. But this movie, if we're going back to pairing this with movies, like just kind of like inspired by one of this year's themes for the 31 Days of Dread, look, this movie works awesome with Blade Runner. Okay, this movie works really good with The Crow. It works really good with the 95 Prophecy, because this is like a dark, brooding future. It's a dystopian future that's amazingly well shot. It still holds up. Incredible creature design. The flow of this story is just stacked on top of itself, on top of itself, on top of itself. There's stakes. There's betrayals. There's revelations, all within this tiny picture that I'm pretty sure had a budget of $60 million. And I was immediately like re-impressed by this movie because a couple years went by. Recently, I just tried watching Highlander. I still can't figure out that movie, but I love it. Like the rules of that movie, and I do this thing where I want to understand the rules of the movie within the movie itself. I don't want to go to Wikipedia and have it explained to me, because I feel like when you understand something within the context of the presentation, it's so much more powerful and it's poignant, and that's your job as a film goer, as an audience member, to understand that and to dissect it. We should always treat Wikipedia like Cliff Notes. And look, I know for the 31 Days of Dread, I reference Wikipedia a lot because, I wanted additional information for movies, but I never use Wikipedia to describe a effect the movie has on me, a movie's intent. and actually contextually what happens within the narrative of the movie. I use my own judgment for that. This gets a little bit more difficult with movies that have a little bit less. Again, I'll go to the Innkeeper's Day episode. Holy crap. I could barely talk about that movie because there was really nothing there, and I was terribly disappointed. But this movie is awesome. This movie would also go good with the new Judge Dredd, and 2 movies with Carl Urban. Like perfect pairing, because like this movie will go good with Legion. Legion is another movie made by the same guy, because our Scott Stewart is our director. He also directed Paul Bentley, who is Vision in the Avengers movie, in the movie called Legion that came out a year before, 2010. Legion became a television show called Dominion. And look, this guy, our director, has a special effects background. It's very clear when you watch this movie because it looks so much more expensive. It just looks more than what it is. And to me, it's because of that. But he also, look, this movie has high drama to it. This movie has feeling, which is awesome because it is somewhat of a cowboy movie. It's a little bit like Searchers, what again makes it great. So here's the other cool thing. I mentioned that this movie was a manga, and we're kind of dealing in an age where a lot of the superhero properties are fading, and Hollywood's kind of digging around for manga and video game properties to adapt. And manga and anime is a lot like video games. It doesn't have a good track record, which is sad. But I would say this is the greatest manga interpretation, live action wise, like throughout the entire stack. I would put this, Ghost in the Shell. I love the 90s Fist of the North Star, and then like it gets pretty bleak from there down. Now the Guyver, the 90s Guyver too, always a home run. I think Mark Hamill's in the sequel for that. Speaking of Star Wars. But no, just to wrap this up, for day 15, Redux, go check out Priest 2011, and also check out Legion. I think that's a good double feature. And to give you guys a little bit of a note moving forward, because you need a note going forward. Episode 251. I'm pretty sure that overall this is AKAPAD, AKA audio, AKAPAD. I can't. Sorry, total brain fart there. AKAPAD's Audio Audacity podcast. This is roughly episode 251. So we're going to go back to our numbering. It's going to be 252. And we're going to do a little bit of a recap for the 31 Days of Dread. If I decide to push that back, we're going to go right into Terminator 2, Terminator 2D, 3D, The Ride. We're going to go deep dive into Terminator because, this past weekend, Terminator Dark Fate came out and completely bombed. And people are just losing their minds about it. I'm going to reserve judgment. I really am, even though I'm absorbing all of the reviews and commentary about it, but I'm still going to go in like fresh mind because I can't wait to see it. So this coming week is going to be all Terminator, hopefully going into next week, next Monday, and then we're going to be in Star Wars mode. So those are your show notes. But everyone, 2011, check out Priest, Cats and Dogs Living Together. Let's do this. It's a good movie. I love you. And look, thank you. The 31 Days of Dread was a huge success this year. We'll talk a little bit more about that with our follow-up episode. I'll see you. See you, kids. Have a good day.